Welcome to our software introduction tutorial. We're going to take you step by step through how the basics of the software work so that you can get started. So the first step is to manage your users. So you want to either create new users or you can make changes to existing users. So you simply click on the Manage Users button, and that will take you into the Manage Users function. Here at the bottom left of the screen, you have this plus icon. Simply click the plus icon to add a new user. And you can then fill in all the personal information that you want for this new user. However that is going to be. And now you would be ready to search for your Moxy and your heart rate monitor. Make sure you have your Moxy turned on. Also make sure that you have your ANT Plus dongle plugged into your computer, otherwise it will not find the device. Once you're sure that your Moxy's on and your dongle is plugged in, you simply click this search button and you will find all the available devices. So here we have one muscle oxygen sensor, one Moxy, and a heart rate monitor. And we want to pair these two devices to this user. So I'm going to check these boxes. On the right, you also see that they're both measuring something, so that's good. Having assigned these two devices, I'm going to simply click Save now. And so these devices are now saved and assigned to this new user. I'm going to back out here. And I'm going to go to the Swinko Basic function. This button right here. This is where you can do all your basic measurements with your NIRS device, with your Moxy device. So we're going to go into here and see how this works. In the Start Live Measurement, in the basic function, you can click the users that you want to measure. So I'm going to click on my new user I just created. And it'll show you the devices that I've paired to this user. If I want, I can fill in information about this device. So for example, for my Moxy, I'm going to write in here, write VL. So I know where the Moxy sensor is placed. This is useful if you're using multiple devices on a single athlete. I could also fill in some comments or session information. Now, once that's done, we're ready to go and we're ready to start measuring data. And you can click on the next button, take us there. So now we're in the measurement screen. It'll always start paused, so it will not be recording any data. Remember, the Moxy device itself has an internal memory, so the device itself always saves the data as soon as it's turned on. But as long as the screen here is paused, you will not be saving any data on your PC. So it really lets you start collecting data when you're actually ready, or when you're ready to actually collect information that you think is valuable. And you do that by simply clicking play. Now we're going to see the graph going to start building here. Yeah, we see the values, heart rate, see SMO2 values and your hemoglobin index values, and you see the graphs building here. Now, you have a few other functions you can do during your measurements. You can add a marker. This is useful if something happens during the test, if you're starting and stopping intervals, you had to go to the bathroom and you want to make sure that you know when that happened, whatever is needed, that's quite useful to have. You then also have a pause function, which stops recording data. And you can play again and it'll start recording the data again. Now, as soon as you're done recording the data, you have the stop button. And if you click the stop button, you will be asked if you want to save your data or if you just want to exit without saving. We can say, yes, we want to save the data. And it's going to take us right back here to the start. So I'm going to back out of that. Back at the main menu, you'll see beside your Swinko Basic, which we did, there's a few other buttons here. The Swinko Endurance Test is a standardized 5-minute step test with automated analysis. That's an additional function that you can purchase for the software if you do not have access to it, but are interested or have questions, please contact us or watch the Swinko Endurance Test tutorial video that'll also give you some more insight into what this is doing. Then we have the Swinko RPR test and the Swinko Expert Mode. These two are not available yet. They're being worked on and being further developed as we speak. So we will periodically give updates to kind of see how far we are on those. The other two buttons we have is, first of all, we have the archive. The archive is a history. It lets you see all the data that you've collected in your different sessions that you've done here in the basic function. As you can see at the top is this new user that we just measured right now. Duration is 1 minute. That's what we were doing. So I can actually open that up. And you get to see the data that we collected. Here you could also, if you want to, kind of name or categorize this. You can add your sessions and comments if you didn't do that before. You could also assign it to a new user if you wanted to do that, or you could print the data. You can here, if you had a long data, you'd be able to scroll back and forth here to see more data. You can also zoom in and out with your zooming function on your mouse, so you can kind of view data closer that you're looking at. This is useful if you have an hour of data you're looking at or 2 hours of data. Finally, with the export as CSV, this is very useful, especially if you're a data junkie and you like to do your own graphing. You can export all your data as a CSV file to put into kind of a spreadsheet program, Excel or something like that. All right, I'm going to back out here. Then we have this import. The import function lets you take data directly off of your Moxy. Like we said, the Moxy is its own internal memory, so you can then take the data off of the Moxy and put that into your archive. This is useful if you weren't live measuring the data, if you're just getting it on your internal memory on the device. It also lets you, if a friend exported a CSV file and you want that in your archive, you could then import that CSV file into your own archive. And the last thing to look at is up here, the settings function, the settings button. If we go to that, in the settings, we can change from metric to imperial. There's some language selections we can make, some personal information. You have your license key activation, tells you also what you have access to. And then on the right here where it says Moxy device, this lets you make changes on the actual hardware, so on the device itself. Okay, this is like the Moxy app that can be downloaded from the Moxy website. It has the same functionality. So to make this work, you have to take your Moxy and you have to have it plugged in via a USB cable. When that Moxy is plugged in, you can find the COM port. And it's going to search for that connection, and you're going to get an identification of the device. You're then also able to make sure that the timestamps on the internal memory are the same as your PC, okay? So as you can see right here, they're not. So since I don't want my device to be saying the 1970s, I'm going to set the date and time, and now it's synchronized with my computer. So if I'm taking data off my device directly, I'm going to have the proper timestamps. Then I have these device settings options. The ANT Plus profile decides how the sensor, how your Moxy sensor is going to be sending data outwards. So it could also send data cloaked as a heart rate monitor, for example, if you wanted to do that, or a speed and cadence sensor. Normally, we would just leave it as this ANT Plus muscle oxygen sensor. That's default. Then we have the update interval. This lets you change the update rate and the update mode. You could, for example, make it update much faster, so every half second rather than every 2 seconds, or you can take data smoothing options out. We're going to leave it at the default here, 2 seconds update. One further down, again, here it lets you import data. This is essentially the same as the data import button that we saw in the main menu, but it also lets you clear the data here. So it'll clear all the data from the internal memory. And finally, if there's any firmware updates, that can be done down here. The last thing left would be, we have a help button. This takes you online to our help page. It'll have some manuals there and some other help tutorials for the software, but also for Moxy in general. So please use that. And always feel free to send us an email to ask us questions, to get in contact with us in regard to questions about the software, but also about Moxy and training with Moxy and Moxy physiology. And if you have any comments about the software, please also get in touch with us. We always want to make our products better, so we really look forward to getting feedbacks from customers. Thank you very much, and we hope that this tutorial is useful and helpful, and we'll see you at the next tutorial.